Hey guys, Anna here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another speed build. Today is the first build in our October content and we are focusing on base game renovations. I am so excited to do a renovation series here on the channel because it's something I've wanted to do for a really long time, and we are going to start with the Crick Cabana lot, which is a space game starter home, which is in the Foundry Way street or neighborhood, I suppose, in Willow Creek. It is often a lot that simmers may choose to start with when you open the game. This one, or the Streamlet Single, or the Daisy Hovel, is generally where you would start if you did want to start your game in Willow Creek. These are the lots you would choose, and this particular lot is one where it has, this front bay window, which I really like. And normally you would have a kitchen there, the kitchen and the dining. We have decided to keep that, design aspect of the build, I guess the architecture. And we're putting a master bedroom there. So I wanted to keep that, but everything else in this build changes. We essentially have a right side of the build and a left, and the right side is the bedroom and the bathroom. So you have a master bedroom, a bathroom in the middle, and then a child's room, which is a twin girls' room. And then the entire right side of the build is all of the living areas. Something else that we've added to this particular build that elevates it, in my opinion, is we actually have a backyard and a side yard. Not really a side yard, sorry, a backyard. We do have a play set, I think, at Monkey Bars at the front of the build. You'll see that towards the end, but we actually have a backyard, and that it's always been my gripe with these kind of base game Willow Creek homes is they just don't seem to have a backyard. I think the Daisy Hovel build does, maybe, but I know the Streamlet Single and I know the Crick Cabana definitely does not, and it just seems really odd. It seems like the building is just plonked on the land, and it doesn't seem as realistic because it doesn't have something that's going on outdoors. So anyway, we've added that in, and I think it's a huge improvement to the build. The other thing that is really exciting with these builds is the fact that we've gotten so many new assets for the base game. So for example, these columns are new. I think I used the new spandrels. There's new flooring and wallpaper options. So I think that's why doing a base game renovation is so much fun, because you can just really breathe new life in these builds that are really old. The base game has been around for a really long time, and I just think it's super exciting to do this. Some of the criteria I have for myself when I've been designing these, I guess, and renovating, is I wanted them to be affordable if they were originally affordable. So for example, this is a starter home. I want it to still be a starter home. Obviously has to be base game. So I think we're doing a total of 8 renovations. 7 renovations, and I'm giving you 3 bonus builds that are just standard base game homes. I think we have a 3x2, a couple of 3x2s, and maybe a 2x1 base game only home. Plus the 7 renovations. So we've got 3 in Oasis Springs, and we've got 4 here in Willow Creek. Anyway, so that's what's happening for the month of October on the channel. It's very exciting, and I'm very excited to show you all of this, and I had a lot of fun. So with it being renovations, you're essentially, for me, I took it as I really wanted to work on the floor plan. I wanted to work on the spacing, because base game builds quite often are large when they don't need to be. They're also odd window placement, really odd wall height. Sometimes it's a medium-sized wall height when really you could get away with a small wall height, or short, sorry. I don't know why I said small, short. So we've kind of taken those things into consideration too, but also things like roof trim and, heights of roofs and pitches of roofs and things like that. Like, they just really didn't take into consideration a lot of these things. So, you'll see that this month as well. Okay, so we've got the main layout of this build. So as I mentioned, you walk in and to your right, you have a beautiful kind of enclosed kitchen, and I've used half walls. I've used half walls quite a lot in these base game renovations. I'm really loving it. It kind of naturally creates division, which allows you to create kind of improv hallways and, separate areas. So for example, these half walls in this kitchen actually allow you to have a hallway from the front door, but it also separates where the dining table is. So you can kind of visually see this is the dining area, this is the kitchen, and then the living area in this particular build is just an open space. So as I mentioned, we got new flooring. So I've used a new base game flooring in this particular build. I've used the Linoleum tile in the kitchen. I don't normally use that. So I wanted to use things I don't normally use, really looking through the base game and seeing what I could use. But again, this is very much a cost budget type build. I think this particular build comes in at 20,899 simoleons. Which you should have some change, because if you were to have a couple and the children, because you could technically fit 4 Sims in this build, and you started that way, I think you get 21 or 22,000 simoleons. So you would have change with this build. Thursday's build's a similar thing. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's still a 2x1. All right, this is that master bedroom, and this is why I love these bay window sections. I think they're really nice in bedrooms because you can have like a seating area, and I could envision a sim maybe reading there. You could also have a vanity there if you didn't want to have windows. That would be quite pretty as well. In this particular build, I've used a lot of green and yellows, and I don't know why, but in a lot of these renovations, I've kind of stuck with a color scheme. So the exterior of the build is green. I've then used a lot of green inside the build, but I've paired that green with the yellow with the wallpaper. I don't use this wallpaper a lot. It's got these little flowers in it, and it's really quite sweet. And I think that it pairs well with the richness of the flooring, and it's the same brown that's in the skirting. We then use the same wallpaper in the girls' room. I just change it to a pink tone. So that worked really well. I could use the same wallpaper in the master and in the child's room, but just change the color. So that way it looks cohesive with the rest of the home, because it's essentially the same pattern. It's just in a different color. So it works. I put in a child's activity table just to add a little bit more of things for them to do. I think in my starter homes, I always struggle to have toys and activities for Sims and skill building. So like when I can add things in, I like to. This is a very basic child's room. Lots of new pieces in there, some new clutter pieces, that new rug, the curtains, we got new swatches for, the lights, the lamp. All of that is newer content that wouldn't have been in the base game at the time of launch. And yeah, just a really simple layout. It's really pretty. So we are now in the final stages in terms of just going around the home and making sure that it is all furnished, and we are obviously looking at the budget at this time. I put in a fence, but I believe I delete this fence and I actually change it for a base game fence, because that would be very expensive. So in all these homes, I do utilize a lot of terrain paint and debug landscaping, because it's all free. And a lot of the terrain paint, actually, we've got new tiles. So this actual print here is actually a tile in the game, but you can just use terrain paint and it's free. So that has just been a blessing. And what I'm doing now is I'm mapping out my terrain paint. Where am I putting dirt and flowers? Where am I putting the path? Got to line it up nice and neatly, and so and that's why it's important to sometimes utilize the square tool as opposed to the rounded tool. It can really help you create more crisp lines when you are doing paths and things like that. So these are the monkey bars that I mentioned. I just kind of added them at the front because I wanted to just give a little bit more activity. Again, we would have been going way over budget at this point, but I'm pretty confident we get rid of the fence and put in a debug one. But I was just so excited about there being a backyard because that was really important to me. But yeah, the other thing about these builds that you'll see this month is a lot of them are basic sliding homes. They're all very similar. It's the only ones that are slightly different, I would say, are the Oasis Spring ones, because they tend to be like more of a modern style or a mid-century style, and you will see that. Yep, so we're getting rid of the fence. I believe we're putting in a debug fence and maybe even debug flower planter plots at on the windows, just because I think there are some ones that were free. I really liked them. I thought they were super cute. Now, I actually don't like this fence at all, but it's free, and I thought that, you know, it'll go with it. I really struggled with the pieces because obviously it's hard to manipulate without tool the size of the fence itself. So yeah, if you have the tool mod, that would have been a useful, you could use a tool mod. Anyway, so I'm using a lot of the darker leaved landscaping. I think it fits in all the shrubs, and we're just kind of lining the building. And I think I do put a largest tree. Yep, just trees that we used in the area. My favorite kind of white daisies. These are beautiful. Just very minimal landscaping as per usual, nothing crazy. But this is kind of the thing. I could go crazy because it's all free. So that's why I'm really impressed with a lot of the builds that I've been able to do, because it just, like, the landscaping is what makes it really impressive. Because it is just an otherwise a very, you know, normal-ish build. But yeah, so this home is available on the Sims 4 gallery if you'd like to download it, if you know, like what you see, you want to play in it. My gallery ID is Antoinette44. It is in the description down below if need. Feel free to download and play in this home. And yeah, so if you enjoyed this build so far, if you like the idea of some base game renovations, you want to see more, please consider subscribing, like, and leave me a comment. It means a lot to me, and I love reading them and, you know, responding and talking with you guys. And yeah, I just would really love to have you around to, you know, and yeah, I can't believe we are already in October. It's crazy. This year is slowly coming to an end. It will be Christmas before you know. So I am kind of looking at what kind of content I want to do for the rest of the year. So if you have any ideas of what type of content you would like to see, please add that into the description down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And yeah, let's create some things that you want to see. All right, so we are basically finalizing the backyard. I'm just putting in an extra tree. And I really love how I've got the little kind of umbrella table kind of like nestled in with the flowers. It's kind of like a little garden seating, and I kind of like that it's very simplistic, but it's still pretty, and I like it. The rocks add dimension. We've got some planter plots. I've tucked the bin behind the back, and now I'm just going in to finalize all of that. So I'm re-putting down my terrain paint, even though I did it before. Yeah, I just love to like go back and touch it up anyways. I always find that's a really good thing to do, and to put lots of dirt underneath pretty much the building in general, but definitely all the plants, because then it feels like the building is more like, I don't know, it's just been like built there as opposed to just randomly being placed. All right, we're putting our stairs back because I did lower the foundation to do the landscaping. Oh, we've got a rogue curtain. I'm deleting the underside of the stairs because that's money. You get a lot of money from doing that. So I've decided to do that just to kind of, you know, get some money back. And we are going back with that pathing. As you can see, I'm using the square tool, and I'm getting a much more crisp line with that square tool, and it just makes using the path, creating the path, a lot more simpler. All right, and I believe we are now live in game, and we're going to do a quick tour. So you walk in, and you have, yep, just checking the budget there. What are we doing? Oh, we're putting a mat. We are putting a Floor mat. I must still have some money left. Okay. Yep. No, I usually go with this one. Yep, cool. All right, so we are walking in. We have, as I said, somewhat of a little entryway. And then to the right side of the build, you have your master bedroom. You have, oh, we're jumping to the kitchen, dining, and living. So that's the left side. And we are going into the bathroom. Very simplistic bathroom, shower tub combo. And then tucked in next to the living room, you have that twin girls' room. And then you head out to the back, which is tacked by the dining room. You have that outside area, a sitting area, a grill, and then you have some monkey bars at the front. And that is the build today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye for now.